Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be making a bowl, or it's really a crossover piece because it could be considered a vessel because the top portion kind of bends back towards the center, but it is kind of a big opening, so I'm comfortable in calling this a bowl. Now anybody who regularly watches my channel know that I love to take scraps or pieces of wood laying around the shop and somehow get them together into some kind of a project. And these particular three pieces were actually leftover glue ups from a fruit bowl I made a couple of videos ago, and I'll go ahead and put a link down in the description to that video. But these were left over from that project, so I decided just to go ahead and glue them up 90 degrees to each other and see what I can make out of it. Now this video won't have a whole lot of commentary other than about 6 minutes 15 seconds in, where I do kind of a tour of my hollowing jig that I use quite frequently on the lathe. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you have any questions, please put them down in the comments below. And if you see value in the video, I'd appreciate you subscribing. That really helps us with the YouTube analytics and gets our content out to more viewers. Hit that like button and the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when we post our videos. Other than that, hope you enjoy it and have a great day. Thanks.
So I wanted to pause the wood turning portion of the video just for a couple minutes to talk about tool selection. This particular turning is, although the shape of a bowl, it's really what I would call a hollow vessel. Even though it's got a rather large opening, it does have a vertical piece here in the back that is really difficult to get to with standard tools. So what most people might think about doing is trying to get at that this way with whatever your standard tool is, in this case, a 1/2-inch bowl gouge. And you just really can't get back there in any safe manner to get a proper approach on the wood. Somebody might try a standard straight carbide tip bit, thinking that the rounded portion of the carbide here might be able to get back there, but that's just not a safe or an easy situation either. They do make hand tools that have the little curved edge on here, and that does help introduce the carbide into the back edge of that wood. But the fundamental problem with these is that downward pressure as the wood's turning just gives you the high likelihood of some kind of a catch situation where the carbide tip just may grab that wood a little bit too much and the tool will turn because you just don't have any control on it. So although these might work in this situation, it's not something I'd recommend. I actually only used this for just a little bit the first time I got it and realized it's just not the tool for a safe turning on the inside. So what I invested in a couple years ago, which is called a Halloween jig. So let me reposition the camera and I'll give you a little tour of my setup and show you why it's the best way to turn inside edges like this, or if you're turning a really deep vessel to get your tools far into a situation, and rather than use something like this, which I don't think is particularly safe. So let me get that camera repositioned and we'll get you back here in a second. Okay, welcome back. I got the camera repositioned a little bit so I can get my entire system in on the shot. But this is a system that I got a couple years ago. It's from a company called Lyle Jamieson Woodturning. I am not affiliated with them in any way. I'm not sponsored. This was purchased out of my own pocket. I did my research and decided to choose this particular product. So this is really made up of about 5 separate components. You have a backrest. You have this section here, which is referred to as the D handle. You have the boring bar, and you have the swivel assembly here, and the last piece is the laser light. So essentially what the purposes of this is, you have a backrest area here, and this part of your tool will slide in there. All this is made with nice heavy duty steel. It's heavy, it provides stability, and this little D handle system slides inside this groove, and this is referred to as a captured system. So effectively, this system eliminates torque. So with this handheld tool I had, you had the chance of the tool spinning on you. In this situation, you can't do that. No matter how hard I press down on this tool, this arrests any of that torque, which creates a really safe system when you're coming deep into a vessel. If you happen to be doing a really hollow vessel with a tiny little opening, you can get the tool in there and safely remove material without worrying about the tool arresting. You have much more control of your cutting head, and anytime you have more control, you have much more of a safer situation. In the case of Lyle Jamieson's product, you can get different size boring bars. They're replaceable from here. You can get narrow ones, longer ones, thinner ones that would fit your particular situation. This little swivel head assembly, just take a wrench and you can adjust your little, this case, high-speed steel bit in any angle you want, depending on where you're cutting inside the vessel. You do have attachments to have a little more of a curved piece there if you want to get more of an angle inside of a vessel. You can buy carbide tip pieces if you'd like, but you'll see me using this in the video where I might have my wrist or elbow here, and I'm just slowly kind of going at the wood, and you just have total control with your cutting head, and that's the name of the game. And the last piece that's really convenient to use, and it's a question I often get it when you're turning your vessel, you really want to keep the thickness exactly as much as you can from one side to the next. If you have an inside of a vessel that you may not even be able to see with different wall thicknesses, that can contribute to the vessel potentially cracking later on as the humidity might change in the environment where your product is. If that's not consistent, the wood might expand and contract inconsistently with the different amount of humidity. It might cause a crack. So it's really important to keep that wall thickness the same. And how do you do that? Well, in this situation, I can kind of feel with my fingers and get an idea how thick that wall is. But with this system, there's a little laser light, and I'll kind of reposition the camera a third time and show you how the laser light system works in order to get a consistent depth inside your product that you're working on. So let me reposition the camera again and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back from my third and final cutaway from the turnings. I've got my laser light turned on and set up, and I'll put this little white card here. And so we got our little red laser light dot, and we got the front edge of our cutting tool. And this distance is around 3/8 of an inch, maybe a centimeter. And so now I know, in reference to the laser light, exactly where the leading edge of my cutting tool is. So if I move this inside the turning that I'm working on, now the laser light will appear on the top of the bowl, and I'm just going to put the cutter tool head to the inside of this turning. And now I know that the cutter head is exactly 3/8 of an inch, or about a centimeter, that way behind this laser light. So as I'm removing material, while this is turning, I just keep watching that laser light. And once that laser light starts, turning off of the front edge of the turning, I don't see the laser light anymore. That tells me that my cutter tool is now exactly that distance that I preset, about 3/8 of an inch or a centimeter from the outside of the bowl, and that would give me my depth, or the thickness of my turning. So it's a really safe system. There are some newer ones I've seen that actually use like a video camera, and it somehow transposes like a outline of the bowl onto like an iPad or some kind of a digital pad. But I've just found this system is pretty straightforward. It's simple, and it only takes a couple of AAA batteries in your laser light to keep it functioning. So I'll use this a little bit when I go back to the actual turning, and you'll see how it works in action. So that's my system. So let's